This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls.
Well, hello and good morning and welcome to Radio Hereford FC, coming to you live from Shobdon Airfield in the north of the county for the Hust Fun and Open Day. It's very early yet. It's here from 11 till 3 today. So if you're in the area, do drop in, do come along and join us. Jonny Roberts will be doing her skydive at about 12, sorry. It's 11:30 now. About 12:30, and we will be witnessing that, and hopefully we'll bring you commentary on that as well. But we'll also record the event, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of footage, and also our audio commentary will be out there again later on. What's here at the moment is free beer. Okay, that's a good reason for coming. Here's free beer. There's 2 beers to sample, but you have to vote for which one you like, and that will become the Hust beer, the Hust draft beer for the next 12 months. There's also a huge inflatable table football game which looks extremely dangerous to me. A rodeo bull. Ice creams here. The UITC football penalty shootout inflatable is here. Lots of people beginning to mill around, particularly over the skydiving and the hang gliding and all that sort of thing that's going on this morning and early this afternoon. So do come along and join us if you can, and we'll be back with you in a little while to bring you up to date with events here, while Keith Hall is at the moment dispensing beer, which I think I might go and join him. And we'll be back with you again a little bit later on, and Keith himself will be here, and we might have a few people to interview and talk to as well. So if not, if you can't catch up with us or keep on listening till about 3 o'clock this afternoon, then we will edit our audio highlights and get them out to you. Can you hear the aircraft in the background? Oh, apparently it takes half an hour for Jonny to get up to the height that she needs. By the way, I know Laura Davis from UITC is jumping as well. It takes half an hour to get to the height and then 5 minutes to actually come back down. I'm really looking forward to that. There's no wind. Well, very, very little wind here. It's a little overcast, but the clouds are very high. It's a really nice day, perfect for looking up into the sky and seeing Jonny dive out of an aircraft, raising money for Hust, of course, and that money will go then direct to the club, to the football club, to support our budget for this season and beyond. It's £5 to get in. I think it's £1 for under 16s, something like that, and any money, all money taken, every single penny taken, will go to Hust for share purchase in our fantastic football club, and also to support the academy and other community projects. So I can see Ruth Walkden with an ice cream over there. I've had a burger, which is very nice, and just walking up at the moment is Jonny Roberts, who is going to put a headset on, and I'll have a very, very quick talk to Jonny. You're used to these headsets, aren't you, Jonny?
I am, just about.
Oh, you're right. We are on air, and there are a couple of people listening to us. I've invited them along and told them what's happening, particularly the free beer. I've thoroughly enjoyed that, and I mean, I was a bit disappointed that we were set up here so far away from the toilet block, but then I realised we were very, very near the beer tent.
Well,
now,
I put a happy compromise in for you.
What we could have done, however, is to have us and the beer tent nearer to the toilet block. But anyway, that's...
With the headache that I've had on an electricity cable, you don't want to know.
Yeah, we're running off a generator. We're running off a little diesel generator, which will probably last us all afternoon, which is really brilliant. And so... as we've been on air for a couple of minutes now, Jonny, you want to tell us about your skydive? When is it likely to happen?
I've asked them if we can do it about 12:30, 1 o'clock, but obviously it's all dependent on cloud cover, etc., because it's quite cloudy here today. So it is weather dependent. A few have come down already, or gone up and come back down already, because there's quite a few here.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because the flying school is actually running today anyway, so anybody can have a go, so just truck up and...
Well, we've got another guest come along now who I'll have a word with, so pass your headset over. We've got Tony, Jonny's husband, here, which is excellent. Right. Whatever possessed you, first of all, to marry her in the first place. No. And secondly,
well,
to let
was
her...
a very difficult decision
I know.
to start with.
No,
Yes.
it wasn't. Let her to jump out of a plane.
I know.
Is it the sort of thing that she just does? Spur of the moment?
Spur of the moment. Everything spur of the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no thought goes into it at all.
Well,
really.
I don't know, Tony. I mean, an awful lot of thought. An awful lot of thought. We did suggest on our radio broadcast yesterday that she may chicken out, but I don't think that's an option with Jonny, is it?
I don't think it'll happen. No.
What's that?
Chicken out.
Chicken out.
No.
I can't see that happening somehow. I really look forward to witnessing that, and we will commentate on it. We'll say it's a little dot in the sky, and it's getting bigger. And oh look, she's got a big hunky bloke strapped to her back.
Yeah. What time is this happening?
About between 12:30 and 1 o'clock,
Okay.
and we'll. But thanks for popping along, Tony. I understand you've been to Morrison's and got us some more beer glasses.
Yes.
Some plastic beer glasses.
Yes.
Excellent stuff. Thank you for that.
I got 80. I'll probably use 40, but...
Yes. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Right, we're going to have a little break now, and we'll be back with you a little bit later on, and with all the events that are going on here. But until that time, from Radio Hereford FC, goodbye for now.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls.
Oh, welcome back if you're listening online. We're still waiting for Jonny to get suited up and to go for her sky jump, and of course we'll bring you that action as it happens and then edit it down and bring it back to you tonight with photographs and video from Andy Walkden and everybody else around it. But we've got a guest here. We've got young Max Harris, ex-Hereford FC, now at Oxford United. Yeah, how's it going?
Yes, yeah, going well. Being there, coming to my second season now. So, just getting to the swing of things, playing full-time and that. But, yeah, it's going really well.
Yeah, a full-time, totally different ball game, yeah?
Lots of sleeping. Yeah, lots of sleeping.
And hard work.
Oh, especially pre-season, it's been a lot of running.
I'll bet, yeah.
Lots of running.
Yeah, and sort of, where are you in the pecking order in the system?
So there's a lot of keepers there. Unfortunately, there's about 6 or 7 goalkeepers there.
Right.
But so slowly got to work my way through them. But yeah, the standard goalkeeper is very good. So I'm getting pushed every day, training with the first team goalkeepers most days. So I said it's a really good standard to be training with.
That's excellent. And your ultimate goal would be?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. So
ultimate goal, yeah, that was a pun, wasn't it? Really? Ultimate goal would be a contract somewhere playing.
Yeah. So I think the goal now would be to get my pro contract. But I said to be able to play full-time football in the Football League would be to be able
That's
to do
the
it
ambition.
week in, week out.
Yeah,
to play
week in, week out.
Yeah,
Football League, or at the very outside, full-time in the National League.
Yes.
I mean, actually, what a good league that is.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of big players playing in the National
I know.
League
We
now.
were looking at Hereford's position at the moment, which is National League Division 1 North, if you like.
Yeah.
What is there, 6 full-time clubs
Something
there?
like that, yeah,
You've
there's a
got
lot of-
Stockport and
big
and
ex-Football League
York
clubs
City.
as well. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of ex-Football League clubs, a lot of big clubs with some big budgets, but I said it'd be a good test for Hereford next year, playing against full-time lads.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I said even
it
in the
will.
conference now, I think all the conference now are full-time.
Yeah, I think there might be 1 or 2 that are holding out, but of course I think full-time is the way you've got to go. And I mean, Hereford eventually, if they go up again, they would definitely have to.
Yeah, something they have to
that
consider to compete with some of the boys.
Well,
there.
exactly. Yeah. Well, it's and are you living? You're obviously living in Oxford.
Yeah. So I got digs in Oxford. I share with a couple of lads that I play with. So
Right,
yeah,
good.
I come back, play a game on a Saturday, come home after on a Saturday, and then back up on the Sunday for a full
Because
week.
you're
there.
based in Gloucester. That's not a bad trip, is it?
It's not too bad. Yeah, it takes me just about an hour and 20.
Do you drive
days,
now?
So, yeah, I drive
That's
now.
fine,
So
yeah.
less cars, less miles than mum and dad. Drive me up.
Yes, we do remember you in the days of mum and dad. the taxi, the bus of mum and
Oh,
dad.
the amount of miles.
Where do you, how do you put your background at Hereford in perspective? To be where you are now, was it a good experience for you? Do you think it was the right pathway for you, and has it worked out the right way?
Yeah, it was fantastic because to be able to be taken in by Beads and having a lot of work with Rhys Evans, the goalkeeping coach, how much I developed in the time at Hereford was brilliant. And then to be involved with the first team, training with men, being involved with them on a Saturday, I've just sort of learned every week, every day with them. And then it got to a stage where I was sort of becoming training well, and I wanted to go out and play more games. So I think Beads was brilliant with me, putting me off on loan, not thingy. But yeah, he said he was absolutely brilliant, putting me out on loan to Pegasus, and had a good bit of time at Pegasus to learn a bit of trade in men's football.
Well, of course, things have changed slightly at Hereford now. You know that the UITC no longer run the pathway from 12s.
That's right,
up to
yeah.
60. Do you think that is the right way for the club to go now, to have its own academy?
I think so, yeah, because I was involved when it was Hereford United in the academy, so I was there for a few years, and then when all the trouble happened and UIC took over, but the UITC did a brilliant job, because I think there was a few players that went on to play for the first team. So I think Carlos was one of them, Jay Richmond, Lewis Clark. Those are a few boys that have come up, and I think.
And of course we got Harry Franklin.
Yes, Harry Franklin.
There,
yeah, he's doing very well at the moment. Franklin. He had Rory Hunt back as well, who went on to Shrewsbury.
Yep.
But yeah, they had a lot
Rory, of course, is now signed first team, and I mean, I've seen him in pre-season, and I mean. Just say what Pete does for people. You know, he did season out on loan at Merthyr last year, and had a lot of game time with Merthyr in the first team.
So that was brilliant for Harry to be able to play that standard of football with men.
And he's come back, and you see now he's really got it. He's really going to be pushing for a place, I think.
Yeah, which is brilliant for him, because I see he's getting some good minutes in there for the first team now in pre-season games, and hopefully if he can go and push on again. But no, I said last season going at Merthyr would have been brilliant for Harry.
Yeah. Well, it's good because I think the way in which our club operates, your club is still your club, isn't it?
Yeah.
The way in which our club operates, other clubs see the way in which we treat young players, the way in which we use young players, and so on, is a good grounding. And actually, that's making it easy, I think, for Beats to bring in the rights of the loan players, because they know they're going to get game time, they're going to get the rights. So thing like we had young Pring last year from Bristol City, who played a lot of games. Doro Shea from West Bromwich, and whatever. And big clubs, well, like West Bromwich Albion, they were Premiership at the time. They don't normally let their players out to part-time clubs,
no,
but it's because of the reputation, I think, of the way in which they're treated.
And it's a credit to Beads and the contact he's got and how he's tracked players as well. Like Dara came in last year, did absolutely brilliant, and has only done his CV even better, because I've seen he's played a few games for the first team in pre-season games, but there's been a few like players he's attracted from bigger clubs, and they said it's brilliant for the club and brilliant for the players themselves.
Yeah, that's absolutely. You're absolutely right there. Excuse me, I'm just checking on my computer system to make sure it's working, and it is. That's excellent. Well, look, thanks for your time this afternoon.
No
thanks
worries.
for coming along. It's a bit sparse and so on this afternoon, but do enjoy it, and do watch Jonny jumping out of a plane. That's going to be happening. I think she's gone off to get. And of course, Laura.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Now, of course, you know Laura from UITC?
Yeah, briefly. As I was sort of leaving UITC, she would just sort of come in, but our paths acrossed a few times of training sessions. I remember her taking.
That's right. She plays. Did she play for Wolves?
Yes, I think she still does. I think she plays for a women's team in Wales, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know she's heavily involved in the
I've seen pictures of her with the Wolves shirt. That might be
that's
previous.
Right. I think she might have came from Wolves before coming coaching here.
Yeah, well, that's excellent. But look, thanks for your time.
No worries. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and we'll get this interview out there for everybody. Yeah, and we'll play it to Beads as well, so he's held. And good luck for everything in the future. And I hope
thank you very much.
Things work out for you as you want them to this season and beyond. And for the rest of you listening out there, we'll be back with you a little bit later for Jonny's and Laura's Sky Jump. But until then, ta-ra for now.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls.
We've got Jonny with us again now. You've had your briefing.
I've had my briefing. I've had my training.
You have, which lasted about best part of 20 minutes, actually. Quite a bit to go through.
It's quite a bit to go through, to understand what you've got to do, or rather what you've not got to do.
Right. Is that more important?
Yeah.
What you don't do?
Like, don't grab the skydiver's hand.
Yeah. Or stop him.
Or
especially
stop him pulling the...
yes, exactly. Yes, that's very good.
And they assure me that on a tandem, they have 2 parachutes in their backpack. So if the first one doesn't come out, the second one will. And the second one is...
Mind you, if the second one doesn't, you'll be stuck up there all day.
No. Because if something... With my weight, I'm coming down faster. Yeah. But apparently the second one is computerised. So if something should happen to the instructor behind you and he can't pull the second one, it will automatically, at a certain height, release the parachute.
Whew.
That's quite nice to know, isn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't hang about too long waiting for that to happen, if I were you.
I feel totally de-stressed by that now.
You do. Well, when you get down back to planet Earth as it is,
Yes.
will you come immediately and come and have a word with us, please?
Absolutely.
Thank you. And bring Laura along as well.
Laura's sat over there. She's a bit like me, kind of like...
Actually, I was having a look. Actually, I thought, out of the two of you, I'd say she's the one at the moment who's slightly bricking it.
Just ever so slightly. But the guy who was training us, he reckons she got the better legs. So I said, right, okay, that's it.
Yeah, well, that's because they're on show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's being a footballer, isn't it? That's what it's about.
Well, yes, indeed. A good quality footballer as well.
Fitter than me.
Yeah.
Fitter than me.
Yeah.
But no,
and a little younger.
Not much, though.
It's a good job that this is radio.
Yes, I have a face for radio.
Yeah, I have an expression that I've just used for radio. Excellent. Well, look, good luck. It's going to work. It's going to be all right. They'll be calling you to get suited up soon.
Well, it's a lovely day here now. The reason for the delay was the cloud
cover.
Cloud cover.
Well, yes, it's dispersed now.
This morning, because apparently once you're up there, the air speed increases with cloud cover, so they couldn't take people up. So there's some guys here that have been waiting since 9:30 this morning that were booked in, so they've just literally gone and taken them. So we're playing catch up here a bit, but it's a lovely day here now, quite a bit of blue sky, so here we go. It should be happening fairly soon.
Well, I've increased my broadcast schedule to be on 3 o'clock, just in case.
Yes, brilliant.
And we'll catch up with you when you get back to Earth. We will try and do a bit of commentary on you guys, because it's some lovely aeroplane noises that I won't have to put in from a tape afterwards.
Absolutely. Well, we'll go and see if one of the guys over there will come over and just talk through what's happening up there or whatever.
Well, we could do. I was going to have a laugh with Keith and whatever, but we'll muddle through. I've still got Tony here. You know, we can. As I say, we can always be stuck up there all night if something goes wrong. But anyway.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine.
You will be fine. Of course you will.
And the Husbeer's going well, so that's quite good.
Certainly is.
So that's good.
They're keeping a tally of which beer is.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell you which beer is winning at the moment, but one of the beers is slightly out in front at the moment.
Yeah.
Mainly because I think Graham Goodwin's voted about 8 times now.
Yeah, this is what happens when you release them from behind cameras. They go loose.
Yeah, well, yes. We've had Nibbo and Andy Walkden, and it's been looked at again. I think somebody else wants to sample a free beer. I better go and sort them out. But look, we'll catch up with you again later, Jonny, okay? Until then, everybody at home, we'll speak to you soon.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls.
The noise you can hear in the background then is the aircraft ready to take Jonny and Laura up on their expedition into the great unknown for both of them. They've never done this before. Apparently it takes about half an hour to go up into the skies above North Herefordshire, just 5 miles west of Leominster, and literally about 5 minutes then for them to return to Earth. They will return to Earth long before the aircraft gets back down. They're the last flight of the day, we think, and they're just signing some paperwork before they go. And we have Jonny and Laura and 2 aviators with them who will be there strapped on tandems on the back, and also a videographer is going up as well. He has lots of GoPro cameras fitted to his helmet, so he'll film their experience, and hopefully I think Jonny and Laura will get copies of that, and obviously we will put that up somewhere on Facebook in the near future. We've got another set of headphones here, and we have a gentleman with us called Andy. Is it Andy, is it? Hello, Andy.
How's it going?
You are from the skydive service here at Shobdon.
One of the pilots.
You're one of the pilots?
Yes.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. It's quite an experience for people, isn't it, to be able to go. I mean, it's not something I would ever have considered doing myself. I must admit, I can't now because I've had a stroke probably, so they wouldn't allow me to. So I've now got an excuse. But I mean, I mean, I know a lot of people do it as a sort of, it's on the bucket list. People talk about bucket list, don't they? Is it increasingly popular, this sort of activity?
It's very popular, but it's just new to Shobdon at the moment. It's given people an opportunity from the local area to support the local charities and come here and skydive.
All right, that's excellent, and it's proving very popular. We've seen, because I mean conditions were against us this morning, I believe.
That's correct, yes.
And therefore you were sort of had a bit of a backlog. So what should have happened at about, I don't know, 1:30, 2 o'clock is now 4:30, and the clouds are closing in a little bit now. But the conditions are okay.
Conditions are perfect. I think this lift now is going to go now to 10,000 feet. The last few lifts were 7,000 feet, so we're going to go now to 10,000 feet on this lift.
That's yeah, 10,000 feet. So how long will it, when they dive, how long is it before the operators open the parachute? So how long does it take to get back to ground, basically?
Okay, so they'll probably start opening around 7,000 feet, 6,000 feet.
So they'll drop 3,000 or 4,000 feet
3,000 or 4,000 feet, and then they'll open.
Yeah, that's fine.
But what they will do is they'll make sure they've come through the cloud initially.
Can I say what I'm absolutely amazed at? I've been watching this now all afternoon, okay? There's a cross, isn't there, on the ground there, or whatever it is, right? How do they do it? I mean, they're all absolutely spot on. You see them around, they seem to be sort of, I don't know, miles in one direction ahead of it, and you think, how are they going to get back and onto that? And it's just perfectly timed. Is it the experience, or knowing the air conditions, or what?
Well, there's a number of things. The cross represents the wind direction, and if you look at the windsock,
yeah.
So what it indicates to the jumpers, every time the wind changes as the day moves on, it indicates the direction they must run in and land into wind.
So I suppose, is it a bit like operating a glider? I don't know. Are you working on the currents?
At the moment, they're working on a weight and canopy. The canopy itself is an aerofoil, so it's working on a weight, so they've got a glide ratio. So again, they'll take the weights of the person, the weights of the chute, the weights of the jumper itself, and you can.
So it's just sort of a mental calculation that they're doing all the way down, and basically. Yes. So it's quite it's a skill, but it's an art as well, isn't it? Because you've got to be a meteorologist, yeah, an aviator. They've actually taken off now, have they? They've gone.
Yeah, they're just
getting ready, just taxiing to the end of the runway, and they'll be taking off soon, and we'll hear that, and then it'll be 25 minutes or so before they.
Should be about 17 minutes to
17
climb.
minutes. So when they've left, we'll have a little break, and then we'll wait till we can see them again, and we can have another chat then. But I noticed that when there's two, one jumps first? There's a gap between them.
There is indeed. So one will jump first, the second will go, and then depends if they're going to get recorded. The camera person will then follow them down and record them on the way down.
Now, presumably, he's a very experienced
exceptionally experienced jumpers. Yeah. I mean, this area itself, there has to have a certain level of jumpers because of the obstacles that's in the vicinity, the high trees, and of course the water just across to the south. So it has to be of a certain experienced jumper initially that comes here.
Right, because I noticed they all get quite a bit of tuition, don't they, before they go up? I mean, it's not just a question of coming along, strapping a harness on, sticking the bloke on your back and getting up there, is it really? Is there a lot more to it than that? Because I know our two girls, they were in the tent over there, and they had, a good 3/4 of an hour beforehand, and they've had another good session now. It's not just, if you're going to book up for something like this, be prepared for the fact there's a lot to take in a short period of time.
There's the ground tuition where you're walked and talked through the initial harness, the equipment, the safety equipment, then the procedure itself when you're in the doorway, how to position yourself for the exit, and then when you've exited the aircraft in free fall, you have to reposition yourself for the free fall, and then on the way down you'll go through some drills of preparations for landing, and then itself coming into land.
Yeah.
So it's.
You obviously yourself a parachuter?
I used to be a parachutist.
Yeah, a parachutist. Right, I'll get it right. You, and you don't do it anymore. You're a pilot now.
I prefer to fly. To fly.
My nephew's a pilot, but he's exactly the same. He'd do anything, but he just loves flying. Is it something I don't know. My nephew, that's all he ever wanted to do from the age of 6. I mean, were you the same? Is it something that you think? That's something I must do. That's something I really want to do. I'm born to it. Or is it something it's not something you suddenly decide at the age of at the age of 20, I think I'll become a pilot.
I think some people realise, very early on they want to fly. Some people later on in their career decide, if it's something they've always wanted to do, and then they take on a second career flying. Yep. So you have the aircraft now lined up on the runway.
Yes.
Just waiting for its clearances.
I can see that, yeah. I suppose even on a small airfield like this, you've still got traffic control, just like a big airport, in a way, a clearance to...
We still have a certain level of procedures. So the aircraft is now rolling.
Ah, yes. Can hear that taking off. It's coming now.
So now, at this stage, the pilot's going to be monitoring his temperatures, pressures. He's looking for his rotate speed. Nose wheels come off the ground. He's rotated. Now he's pitching the nose to an initial attitude, and he's now climbing away on his climb attitude.
I can see. I noticed we've got video cameras on this as well, so it's quite nice. I might be able to stick some of your audio on some video afterwards. That's really nice. And you say it takes about 17 minutes to reach the altitude?
It will, because it's just a simple piston engine. So it's aspirated, so it's going to struggle once it starts passing a certain altitude, because the air is getting thinner.
Of course.
So it's going to evidently have a lower nose attitude, higher it climbs.
Right. So what is the limit then on an aircraft like that?
This limit today is probably about 13,000 feet.
Right.
So would really
10 is well within the limit. And you say earlier it was only 7.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, all right, okay. But I suppose health and safety is the big paramount issue, isn't it? Because when all is said and done, although people do it for a hobby and people do it for fun and people come here and want to do it for a day out, it is quite dangerous. It's not dangerous, I suppose, if the safety procedures are all in place. That's the important thing. Because I notice with your guys around here, everything is aimed at total safety. And I suppose then it's just like riding a bus.
Yeah, I mean, it's everybody still, whether it's the pilots or the jump crews, everyone still has their currencies to go through. They've got their exams to sit. At the end of the day, you're a commercial operation, and you are carrying fare-paying passengers in some way or form, and you do have that responsibility.
Absolutely, but I noticed. I must admit, I did look it up. I mean, the safety record on this sort of thing is excellent, really, isn't it? You don't get too many accidents. I mean, Jonny was telling me after she had the initial thing that there's a backup parachute to the parachute.
That's correct. Right? There's a reserve parachute as well. Yeah, there's a reserve parachute.
And how's that operated? What in the event of, say, your tandem operator behind, if you like, your guidance, if anything happens to him or her?
Okay, that's a very good question. In the back as well, they have a little device called a Cypress, and that's a pressure-operated device. Once you've reached a certain altitude, if you have not operated your main, then that will automatically fire the pins and open up.
Yeah, because if anything happens to the bloke on your back, you're still there, because that's pressure. That's basically operated by altitude, then air pressure.
Yes, that's correct.
All right, that's good. So when you take all the safety aspects into account, it's a reasonably safe sport. But maybe it's not for me. I suppose a lot of people say it's something I'd love to do, and very few people end up doing it. And so, how long has it been operating here at Shobdon? You say it's fairly new for Shobdon.
It's only started this year. That's correct.
This year.
Yes.
Oh right, okay. But the microlights and all that sort of thing have been here before.
They have, yes. They've been.
Yeah. Was it a particular thing? Did they decide Shobdon would be a good location for it, or was it a commercial decision, or did somebody just get together and say, yeah, we'll try this out? I mean, how do things like this just spring up?
I mean, it's a few years ago in the 90s, it was operating as a parachute school, and then it closed down for whatever commercial reason, and then someone seen the opportunity to revigorate and open up and start again.
Back in the war, apparently, this was a gliding school, is that right?
I think so,
gliding training school,
correct,
yeah. And I noticed there were still gliders going up today.
There is. It's a very busy airfield. You've got gliders, you've got normal fixed wing, you have the parachuting, and you have the helicopters operating.
Yeah.
All inside the small airspace.
Well, yes, exactly. I know I've stood at Birmingham Airport sometimes and watched traffic, and I live on a flight path into Birmingham Airport, and you see aircraft in the skies. But even here, there's obviously a safety regime for all aircraft taking off and landing. You can't send the half a dozen people saying, "Oh, we'll go up today." It all has to be planned and logged. Yeah,
it's operated by there's a ground radio today operating for Shobdon, so it offers a level of protection, but not.
Would you be? I mean, it's Sunday today. Is it normally busy on the Sunday, or is it busy all the time?
It's generally busy at the weekends.
Yeah.
During the weeks, it's mostly students would be operating in.
Okay. Yeah.
As such.
Yeah. So there's a lot of teaching goes on here as well.
There is, yes. Both helicopters and fixed wing.
Right. Are you involved in that at all?
I'm involved in the fixed wing. Yes.
You are as a tutor,
as an instructor.
Right, an instructor. Fine. That's good. You enjoy that?
It's you get your first amount of students trying to put the plane in a positions it should not be in.
Yeah, well, I suppose it's just like a driving instructor, somebody on the road.
Three-dimensional driving instructor.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, I suppose having dual control is even more important.
Very important
in an aircraft. Yeah, absolutely. But your students obviously enjoy it if they keep coming back for more. So here, I suppose people can take their examinations to become pilots.
That's correct. They can come up to PPL standard, just private pilot standard, and then if they want to take it further, we would give them direction of what school would best suit.
Right. So basically, you're in a position to bring people up to that first level.
That's correct. Yes.
Of basically a standard pilot, if you're a private pilot. And yeah, I mean, since your plane's taken off, the parachute plane's taken off, one or two others have gone as well. So yeah, it is quite busy. And I suppose there's no lights or anything here. I mean, what time does it dusk?
It'll operate until half an hour before last light.
Right.
And then that's your official
darkness. Half an hour before basically lighting up time, as we used to call it. Yeah. Okay, that's brilliant. So they're probably now been up for, 10 minutes or so. So they're probably getting up towards halfway. So tell me now, because we can't see them, right? They went off away from us in that direction. What do they do now? Is there's a circling procedure that gets them up to that to their fixed altitude?
That's right. So he'll switch across he'll stay on this frequency, but probably speak with London information as well, and start coordinating with London, and he will stay above the airfield but upwind, and he'll continue to climb upwind until he reaches altitude.
Yeah,
and then he will track downwind for a certain number of miles, establish himself on a running pattern.
Right.
And then he will run.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the windsock now. When you talk about downwind, so he's going to come back in from that direction.
He is, yes. Basically. So he's going to release upwind. So he knows the parachutists can make it back.
So obviously, it's not just a question of them going immediately above where they're going to land, is it?
No, it's not.
It's a little bit like if you're sending a rocket to the moon, you don't point it at the moon. You've got to send it to where the moon's going to be, when in the time it's going to take you to get there. So it's the same sort of thing. You're dropping upwind, and then presumably they're parachuting in on the wind.
They'll parachute on the wind, but if we look at the altitude they're dropping at the certain levels of altitude, the wind will change directions and speed.
Yep.
So the higher it goes, it will change direction.
That's how gliders operate, isn't it? By catching the
thermals.
Thermals, yeah.
But this has got more to do with the actual wind direction and strength. So close to the ground, 2,000-3,000 feet. Anything above 3,000 feet, it's free wind. Below that, it's a turbulent wind is caught by.
And by then, your parachute's long opened, so you're catching those winds basically and using those. And your skill with the parachute, because parachutes are no longer the umbrella type thing, are they? They're these sort of.
It's an airfoil. It's an airfoil with effectively tubes that works on ram air that inflates the tubes. But overall, it's shaped like a bird's wing. It creates the lift.
Yeah. So if anybody out there's interested in trying a parachute jump and whatever. How do they get involved? How do they get in contact? They drop down to Shobdon, or is it all online?
Just go online and you'll see at Shobdon for the company that's operating here.
Yeah,
that's book right. Online
and book it on. And the same applies, I think, to the microlights.
Exactly
and
the same at the schools.
Now, what about people who want to get into? There might be youngsters out there listening when we eventually put this broadcast out. But they think, I'd love to give flying a go. I mean, how do you get involved in having your own aircraft? If I'd be able to fly privately, I mean, that's. I think a friend of mine has done it, but I've never asked him actually. Why did you? How do you get involved?
I think it's the biggest of all is communicating with yourself to say, I actually want to do this, and then communicating it to around you, whether it's your parents saying, can you take me down for a day, and then when you're here, just coming in and saying, I'd like to have an experienced flight.
Okay, and people like you are around all the time, and you can
best advise, take them up for a trial flight, and then if they like it, then work out some form of a plan to become a pilot. And it's
Is it the expensive hobby?
If you're not going to carry a career in it, yes, it will be.
Yeah.
It'll be a very expensive hobby.
Yeah.
If you're going to learn to fly just as a hobbyist, it can.
It's a bit like having a yacht, isn't it? Really, people have a yacht because they can afford to have a yacht. People learn to fly because they can afford to learn to fly.
But if you decide to commercially go commercially, then it can be very rewarding.
Yeah. And the other way of doing that, of course, is to join the RAF, like my nephew did.
That's correct.
And now he's out of the RAF and flying commercially for the RAF. Amazing. But there. Yeah. So I mean, there's plenty of pathways in, but it's not cheap.
It's not a cheap pathway, but it's a very rewarding pathway. And if we look at education as a whole, you know how much we send our children away to education. We send them to university, and they come away with something that's not really practical at the expense of £100,000. So you might as well.
Yes, exactly. And if they say, Daddy, I want to learn to fly, I want to be a pilot, it's an education route just like any other. It has its costs.
It does has
and
its
rewards.
It does
in
indeed.
the same way.
But there's cheaper alternatives like gliding. So if you haven't got the monies for powered and the finance for powered aircraft, then gliding is a really good alternative.
Yeah,
it still demands quite a high aptitude, and you learn a lot about flying.
Well, is there a route from one to the other then? Yeah, from gliding to powered. Well, or when you're just stuck on one route, is that it?
No, you can take any route. But most of our exercises in the powered world is all about losing your engines and taking the glide approach to land.
Becoming a glider, so exactly. Yes. Gone are the old days when you say if the engine fails, we'll be stuck up here all night. Yeah. It's a little bit different to that. Okay, that's great. Well, I don't know how far away we are from the jump now. I'd imagine it's been 15 minutes, something like that.
I'm just going to look on flight track radar.
Oh, look at this.
There we are. So, flight track radar, we have him.
Wow, what I can see here is
the aircraft.
It's a bit like Google Maps, but we've got an aircraft, not a car on it. Basically, they're coming back in.
That is your aircraft.
Yep, it is. At the moment, it's at 6,499. That's what it says. So, and it's over. Just over Risbury.
That's correct. Yeah.
Towards, Stoke Prior off to the left. Hope under Dinmore is at the bottom. So Leominster is. So it's actually quite away from us at the moment because we must be over here, Shobdon. So it'll be looking to turn then and fly back in on that path.
Yeah. Once we see it flying in on the westbound, we know it's.
Yeah. It's that. That's amazing, isn't it? You've actually got it as an app on your phone. That's amazing now, isn't it, really? You think, you've got all this. I mean, I use Waze, the sat-nav in the car, because it's more accurate than my sat-nav. But basically, this is the same sort of thing. Now, it's turned and it's flying in now, with Stoke Prior off to the left, and it's now up to 7,000 feet, and it's flying in now, coming in sort of just south of Leominster. And it's just flying over. No, it's circling again now. Yeah.
So he's going to circle away. It looks like he's circling for altitude.
Yeah. Yes, he did rise 500 feet in that last circle, didn't he? And then Presumably he'll come back in again. Yeah, he's climbing at the moment and flying away from us, sort of heading towards the Breedenbury area, towards Bromyard. Now it's circled back again and going north now. Still climbing, still trying to get that altitude before he comes in. This is really cool. This is amazing. Yeah, 7,299 now. So he's certainly climbing above that 7,000 you talked about. Maybe aiming towards the 10,000. But now it's going up. It's now going sort of just to the east of Kimbolton at the moment, which is north and east of us, sort of level with Kingsland, where my grandmother was born. That's of interest. So he's actually almost tracking the A49 at the moment, just to the east of the A49 northwards, and probably still trying to gain that altitude in order to eventually turn and make an approach into Shobdon, which is to his west at the moment. Now 7,700 altitude. Look at this, he's got this off the App Store. How is this? Amazing. Yeah, so Kimbolton, and still tracking around, still heading northwards, north of Leominster. There's two other planes over here. Are they oh, they're other ones in yeah, this is like air traffic control people out there. I'm seeing other planes on this map, one of which is ours, but we got details about them and their altitude and their registrations and so on, and where they're heading towards, which is always handy to know. And where's ours at the moment? We're now up to 8,000 feet, so it's 1,000 feet more than they've been doing so far today, because the conditions are right for this. So actually, by waiting to the end of the day, they're getting a better ride, aren't they? Then, so that's
so this is showing a Newcastle to Bristol flight.
Oh right, okay. Those will be those commercial aircraft high altitude.
Oh, there will be, yes.
Yeah, fine. But of course they all have to. Oh, it's the Airbus. Yes. Yeah.
So it's at 20,000 feet at the moment.
Yeah. So that doesn't really come into play. Because you say what the absolute limit for this would be 13,000
based on today, yes.
Yeah.
So there's a light aircraft in the vicinity sitting at 1,600 feet.
Right. So that's again shouldn't come into. So where are we now?
So this is him running in
over Kingsland now, and now at 8,300 feet. So still climbing.
Yeah.
Still getting the altitude. And yeah, the other aircraft I can see here are at different altitudes. That's the important thing, I suppose. Yeah. And
so this aircraft.
Now, is this the sort of software? This sort of stuff they're using in control?
No, they'll be using a different software. This is just open source information.
Right. Yeah, but it's giving basically the
very
same
basics,
information.
yes.
This is giving you the very basics. Yeah. Okay. Can anybody use this software?
Yes.
Basically,
Yeah.
you can. It's like a sat nav then, basically.
It is, yes.
Oh, excellent.
Here we have.
Oh, now. Oh gosh. Oh, we can see where it's tracked. It actually came north, just to the east of the A49, and now it's turned back over Leominster, and it's heading now towards
2
us.
minutes. So he's coming in on a live drop now.
He is. 2 minutes to drop, and he's now at 8,705 feet, which pilot probably feels that's the limit he's happy with. And yeah, you can see now actually it's quite a turn he's made now, isn't it? Over the north of Leominster, coming in over Monkland, and now sort of heading towards Pembridge, and then on to Shobdon, and maybe you never know, will we see? Yes, very close to us.
That's 60 seconds to drop.
60 seconds to the drop. So, and of course, then the first First couple of 1,000 feet will just be free fall.
Just free fall.
Ooh. So, will we hear the screams? We might. So, yeah. This really is a model, and it's called Flight Tracker Radar. And it's an app, and it's available on the App Store and Google Play Store as well. Oh gosh, it's coming in now. Flight Tracker Radar, all one word. Flight Tracker Radar. You've got to put the double T and the double R in, I noticed that, if you're searching for it. But that's excellent. So you can become a plane spotter with that, can't you? And now we're sort of getting must be getting very close to drop now. Looking at other aircraft that are around about at the moment as well, coming in. So when the pilot has dropped, what does he do? Does he basically circle back down?
So what he will do is he'll create an orbit around the parachutists to keep any other aircraft clear, to indicate and protect you. Another level of protection on the way down.
Yeah. So now over Shobdon. Is that him?
This is him here.
And he is actually just southwest of Shobdon at the moment. But of course the clouds have now filled in a little bit. It's not quite as blue as it was. It's not quite 100% cloud. Excuse me. I'll edit that sneeze out. Now, people are pointing up now. They can see something. Okay. Yes, they're down. We can see them. Right, 2 dots in the sky at the moment. You would think at the moment there's a couple of birds circling overhead. They're that far up. But they are down. There's 3 parachutes, because, of course, somewhere amongst that we've got your videographer who will be taking pictures of this. But they're... they circle like buzzards, don't they?
They do, yes. So what they're doing now is they're just circling upwind and maintaining their positions upwind.
Yeah.
Because if they come downwind and they haven't got the penetration speed, then they're going to land off the area.
So it's keep upwind until you get to a certain altitude, and then they'll...
That's correct. Once they're at a certain altitude, then they go into a traffic pattern, and then it's this traffic pattern that allows them to land back into
because although they all look at the same place, they're actually at different altitudes up there,
yes,
aren't they?
They are, yes.
Yeah. Which is amazing. Absolutely amazing. We're looking straight up almost into the sun at the moment, which fortunately is shielded by a bit of cloud. But now you can actually make out the shapes of the parachutes now, can't you?
Yeah, and you can see this little piece hanging out at the end. That's effectively their drogue chute initially that slows them down in free fall, and it gets them to the correct speed for the canopy to open.
Right. Excellent. And you know the thing that gets me? It's so silent, isn't it? Apart from the aircraft, it's just so peaceful. And whether it's peaceful with what the screams are up there, it's Jonny Roberts and Laura Davis, of course, up there. Their first ever, both of them, their first ever experience of this.
So you can see how the air is getting round into the chutes.
Oh yes, that's your. Well, the video man has just come in, just over the top of a 4x4 that's come on. He just narrowly missed him, and he's landed after taking his videos. He did come into the speed then. He did. He's knowing what you're doing. The other 2 are circling around, still at quite an altitude up there. As I say, they look to be at the same height, but they're not. They will have jumped out at different times. How much altitude between them do you try and keep? Altitude when they jump out? I suppose you measure it in seconds of jumping.
Yes, it's just literally seconds. Again, it's going to be seconds, so you're going to be offset by time, altitude, and distance.
Yeah.
So you have 3/4
and
of
I
separation.
Suppose that's up to the tandems, really, isn't it?
Yes.
To decide.
Yeah.
That's the time to go. Yeah.
And this is the cameraman that's landed first, so now what he is going to do is record the landings for the...
That's nice as well, isn't it? So he'd have done a bit of the free fall, he would have done a bit of the parachuting down, and now he lands first and gets the rest.
That's right, yes.
Because he almost seemed to come straight down. Dear me. And the first one in is going to be, I think, a blue one. So we don't know which is which, unfortunately, but circling around at the moment. over us. You can now actually make out that there are 2 characters on board, and they're now swirling, catching the breezes. Really, isn't it? It's catching the air and knowing how to control it. It's such a skill that these chaps have got.
Yeah. You can see now the forward, the leading edge. A big scoop that's just ramming the air in. That's keeping the cannabis out inflated.
Coming in to land, I think is Laura. I'm not absolutely certain here. I think it might be Laura in first, and she's landed, and that's lovely. And in a few minutes' time, we'll have a word with Laura when she comes over. So Jonny, I think it's Jonny that's still up. There's still quite a height she's got.
Well, I'm going to have to leave you and get my good wife ready.
But thank you very much.
More than welcome.
And very instructive. Thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed that. That was Andy, one of the pilots here at Shobdon Airfield, giving us a little bit of a insight into what they do here at the aerodrome. And the one is down. I was actually wrong, I think. Looking at it, actually that was Jonny that came in first. We are about 200 yards away from the drop point, so it's quite difficult. But the video camera operator's over there and taking pictures anyway. And yes, it was Jonny that came in first. Yeah, waving to Tony, her husband, behind the fence, that put the thumbs up. And we've got Nibbo's here taking pictures, and Andy Walkden's been taking pictures. I think a few people have been taking videos. Keith Hall has got his phone out taking pictures as well, so this will all get recorded for you. Here comes Laura's chute now. She's still circling, and now looking to make a landing. I think now she's going to take one more little circle, I think, before she comes in, coming on a different air current. Laura. And absolutely remarkable. They land absolutely spot on the drop zone. Absolutely. In fact, so much so, it's down with sort of bright high-vis orange tape, and they actually scuffed it when they landed. But as it's the last jump of the day, it probably won't matter, which is absolutely excellent. That's wow, absolutely marvellous. And now we'll have a word with them coming up in just a short time.
This is Radio Hereford FC, the home of the Bulls.
Catch up with Jonny, and here she is.
Hello.
Yeah, you've been de-rigged.
I've been de-rigged. Yeah, I feel cooler now. Right. It's quite hot in that thing.
I know you've been talking to Graham from Bulls News, so I suppose he's gone through everything with you. So I'm just going to ask you one question, right? Sum that up.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. Awesome. It's one of those things. If it doesn't matter how scared you are, because I can't tell you the fear that was going through me the minute the door opened, and you've got to kick out and you've got to put your legs underneath the plane, put your head back onto his shoulder and totally trust in the person behind you, and he just literally throws you out. Yeah. And then the next thing you know, you feel like you're going head first. We were in cloud, so you couldn't see anything down below.
Did you know, because we were talking to one of the pilots while you were all the way there, we were interviewing one of the pilots all the way. He said the conditions have changed, so they're going to go up an extra 3,000 feet for this.
Oh my God!
They've only been going to 7,000 feet. They went up to 10, nearly 10 for that. And we had an app on his phone, and we were tracking you. And Richard was up there flying over Webley, and his plane, we could see that as well. And they told his plane to keep out of the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we had a message just before we went out that there were 2 gliders north of the landing, so we had to be careful not to go near them.
But there was an Airbus way up above you as well, but that was quite
that was quite high up. But
yes, I mean that first 3,000 feet you've just free falling.
I guess so, because we were in cloud, so you didn't know. And literally, as you come out, he taps you because I've got my arms across my chest, like I'm about to die. But then he taps you on the arm, and you have to put them out to the side, like you see them free falling out wings, like. And then you've got the guy with the camera. Yeah. He's in front of you, and he's got this like purple kit on with wings that looks like a flying bat in front of you, and he kind of lands underneath you while you're coming down to take away your fear. He's pulling these really ridiculous funny faces and somersaults and all sorts of things in the air, and he's free falling, and all of a sudden you forget what you're doing because you're watching this idiot in front of you, and you're thinking, my God, he's got no fear at all, but he's filming you, and he's doing what because he's got GoPros all over the helmet and everything. And then he disappeared because obviously Laura was behind me because I went out first.
He disappeared because he landed way before you two. He just came almost straight down.
Oh, yeah,
He narrowly missed the roof of a Range Rover. Seriously, it was coming in. And he skipped over top. He had to lift his feet to avoid it. Landed, so he was there ready to take the pictures of your landing.
Yeah. I think they were checking on us on the plane as well to just because he sits facing us, the guy with the cameras, and obviously the two were already strapped to them when we were in the plane. But they were sort of signalling to him what were our faces like.
And what the pilot told us is, I said, what does the pilot do? Does he come back down? He said, no, he actually circles around you, the pilot in the plane, to protect you from to keep other aircraft.
Oh, right, okay.
That's really.
Yeah, well, I didn't see him.
He said it's another safety measure.
Yeah,
you wouldn't see the plane.
Because I was too busy focusing on am I going to die, which is the scary bit. But the interesting thing is once you've actually come through the cloud.
Yes.
Trying to get everybody.
Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, it's all right. Just we're trying to get Laura.
Get Laura.
To join us. In a sec. Yeah.
Sorry. He's looking at me.
When you're coming down to the cloud.
When you're coming down through the cloud, and all of a sudden you pop out of the cloud, and you're seeing. My fear was that all of a sudden you're seeing all the ground coming towards you, and if it felt as fast as the cloud did, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to breathe. But actually, the minute you come out of the cloud, it's silence.
Yeah.
It's incredible silence, and obviously once the canopy's gone up above you as well, the parachute itself, there is nothing, and you don't feel like you're falling at all. You're just like static, hanging in the air. It's incredible. It's absolutely incredible.
Would you do it again?
Absolutely.
Oh, well,
if they'd have said, strap you up, you're going up again, I'd have gone.
Yeah, fine. Thanks for that, Jonny. We'll catch up with Laura as well now, because I know Laura has been... We've been saying Laura today, but the thing is, they kitted up for this. Well, they kitted up, but they had their instruction at about midday, and then they kept you waiting for nearly 4 hours, and you were basically... It's worse, isn't it? The time they kept you waiting.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you enjoy that?
I did. I loved it. I said, similar to Jonny, like, all day, it's the waiting around that gets to you, I think, because you know you've got to do it, but you're watching other people go and they come back down and they've said exactly the same thing. They're really excited, they're buzzing. But yeah, I think now it's done, I can appreciate it a little bit more and definitely recommend it to anyone else.
You do it again, would you?
Yeah, I do it again without question now.
And you wouldn't be as frightened?
I'd probably still be frightened. Yeah, I'd definitely still be frightened in that plane when I'm on the.
Which is the worst moment?
Probably falling. Like actually sitting on the edge of the plane was fine. That was fine. Yeah. Because Jonny had gone, and I was like, right, I've got to do this now. So sitting on the edge was fine. I couldn't see because my head's up in the air. It's actually falling, and
the free fall part of it.
The free fall. Yeah, I couldn't open my eyes until the parachute was open. So I will admit that.
Well, you wouldn't have seen much because apparently you're going through cloud then anyway.
Yeah.
So it's.
We were going. Yeah, I went through cloud.
Well, you've been absolutely amazing today, and we applaud you for that. Even if you did keep us waiting till long past tea time.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's fine. So we'll say to all you people, there are actually people listening. Yes, there are actually people listening, but we'll edit everything and get it out of the programme anyway later on. But until then, Keith is still here, and from Jonny and from Laura, it's been quite an afternoon for them. See you soon.